In the 6th year of our marriage, 30-year-old Joseph cheated on me with a young, beautiful secretary. As I scrolled through the chat history on my phone, I couldn't sleep at all. Why are you crying? Is he treating you badly? When I looked up, it felt like 18-year-old Joseph was staring at me with concern, gently saying, "You're the best girl in the world. Leave him." Later, I beat Joseph until he was bloodied, but he still refused to divorce me. 18-year-old him told me, "I'll kill him." And he meant it. Would you treat her like this? You're belittling me, which is why I'm being degraded like this. In the video, the girl's white dress was pulled down, leaving her naked and bent over the desk. She turned around, her fingers curling around the man's tie. His hand quickly pressed down on hers, his tone impatient. You think you can compare with my wife? I warn you, you don't have the right to mention her. The video cut off just before showing his face, but I could see the girl's arm wrapped around his neck, her body pressed against his. She was teasing him, whispering in his ear, while the man roughly tore the tie away. The pure blue tie was tied in a Manhattan knot. If I wasn't mistaken, it was the one I had tied for Joseph that morning. What if your wife finds out about us? She didn't finish before he grabbed her by the throat. His veins bulged as he spoke angrily. Shut up. If you dare tell her about us, I'll really kill you. The girl just giggled, lustfully licking his fingers. His fingers moved, gripping her face as he kissed her. I have a severe aversion to risk. I always anticipate the consequences and avoid losses. But I never thought Joseph would cheat. We've known each other for over 10 years and have been married for 6. From the start of our relationship, I never doubted his sincerity. During college, when we were long distance, he flew to see me every week, rushing back after each visit. Even when his family was struggling financially, he took a train to see me, enduring over 10 hours of unpleasant odors. I couldn't imagine how this rich boy managed it, but he simply said, "I wanted to see you." When roads were blocked by heavy snow and the news reported shortages at my school, he hurriedly packed 2 suitcases full of clothes and food, walking all night when cars couldn't pass. I felt sorry for him and teased him for being foolish. I told you I'm fine, why did you have to come? Joseph's clothes, hair, and eyebrows were all covered in snow, but he didn't bother to wipe them off. I was worried about you. I can only relax when I see you're okay. Falling in love for the first time often feels a bit foolish. When I wiped the snow off him, I noticed he had frostbite on his face. Joseph never mentioned it in the following years, never used it as a talking point, never said, "Look at what I did for you." He loved me silently, quieter than the sound of falling snow. Amidst the heavy snow and howling winds, I felt my heart boiling. A reporter captured the moment I wiped snow off him, and they mentioned our story in the news. Back then, the online environment was relatively pure, and the comments were filled with blessings. I can still find that news article today. Most of the comments were from 10 years ago, the most recent one being 6 years ago. "Thank you, everyone, we got married." Joseph used to be a staunch opponent of marriage. I sat alone for a long time, not wanting to think about anything. My heart ached, and I wanted to cry. But I knew this wasn't the right time. I opened the chat with Joseph, asking when he would be back. "I'll be busy today, and will stay at the office, baby, don't wait for me. Get some rest." There was no hint of anything wrong. As usual, I reminded him to take care of himself and ended the conversation. I opened my inbox again. Besides the video he sent, there were many chat records. As if afraid I wouldn't believe it, the person who sent these attachments also left a message, "No fakes, feel free to verify with me." I replied, "How can I prove it?" At the same time, I opened a screen recording app to save the video and chat records. The earliest chat was from over 6 months ago, early this year. "It's all your fault for biting me all over. My mom asked if I have a boyfriend, and I didn't know how to answer. Joseph, if you have time, can you come meet my family?" The profile picture was an anime girl. She looked familiar. Joseph had once complained that she seemed unprofessional. I checked my WeChat and compared. It was the avatar of the new secretary Joseph hired last year. Joseph replied, "Didn't think about the consequences while being flirty? No time." My stomach churned, and I felt dizzy. I almost doubted my eyes. Every word was undeniably real. How could Joseph say such things? Leaning against my bed, I felt cold all over. I should have been by his side at that time. I couldn't fathom the expression he wore while sending that message or how he could face me normally afterward. Thinking of our intimate moments and my complete trust in him made me feel ashamed. I really believed in that man and foolishly imagined spending my life with him. A new email popped up. The sender sent a link, you can check it yourself. When I clicked it, the anime avatar was the same, as if afraid others wouldn't recognize it. The IG was blank, I had to follow her to see her posts. The latest IG read, kissing Mr. J on the bed while having him message his wife, what a thrill. This account had over 20,000 followers, and the comments seemed accustomed to such things. When are you taking the main position? It feels like Mr. J's wife is part of your play now. Impressive tactics, so happy, please offer a course. Even though it's morally wrong, you both have great bodies. Mr. J and his wife have no feelings left, that's not morally wrong. There are many cheaters now, moral guardians, don't come online. The accompanying video matched the filming style of the one I received. The man was leaning over the bed, and the woman wrapped her feet around his legs. The two soon rolled into a tangle. The video was blurry, but I could still see their great figures and the ferocity of their movements. Including when the phone rang and the man paused to reply. Looking at the timestamp, it matched when Joseph replied to me. The woman giggled, Joseph, why don't you go back? I'm not as clingy as your wife. After replying, the man tossed his phone aside. It's none of your business. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth, it's disgusting. The sound was crisp, and his movements showed no mercy. The woman, however, didn't care and leaned in again. But Joseph has slept with me over and over. He can't live without me. The man's voice turned hoarse, don't tempt me. The actions continued. The video darkened. The phone screen went black, reflecting my expressionless face. How disgusting, it was truly revolting. This was the Joseph who just replied to me. This was the man I loved. I could barely imagine how many times in the past I messaged him while he was in such situations. Joseph came from a well-off family, but his parents' relationship was chaotic. Affairs, mistresses, illegitimate children, power struggles. Arguments, screams, fights. These elements were woven through his childhood, and he didn't believe in marriage at all. When Joseph proposed to me, I was stunned for a long time. This is a well-considered decision, no matter what happens, I won't regret it. I'm not making a concession for you, I love you, want you by my side, and seek legal recognition. I hope you don't feel any burden about this. I haven't sacrificed anything. Before, I chose to be a non-marriage advocate because I didn't trust anyone's love, but now I hope you can trust me. Miss Molly, will you choose me to accompany you for the rest of your life? I didn't tell him that I feel the same way. I'm afraid of the risks of marriage. But I choose to believe in him. It's clear that 24-year-old Molly lost this gamble. As I scrolled through his secretary's Instagram, I realized I couldn't turn back. He's someone who despises cheating, yet he cheated. I can't forgive him, I won't allow myself to be treated like this. Even though Joseph and I loved each other so seriously. My heart ached. My face was wet with tears. I sat there in a daze, unsure of what to do. Why are you crying? Is he treating you badly? A clear, youthful voice. I looked up to see 18-year-old Joseph, his face serious as he looked at me. The betrayal in marriage was bad enough, now I felt like I was losing my mind. Through blurry tears, I typed in the search bar, what kind of illness is it to fantasize about a non-existent person? Before I could read the answer, I felt warmth on my wrist. It was warm. Molly, it's me. He looked down and saw the words in my search bar, his tone resolute. Not a fantasy. I exist, really. I took a few minutes to accept that 18-year-old Joseph was right beside me and asked, do you know how you appeared? Joseph pressed his lips together, as if it was hard to say, and after a long pause, he replied, on my 18th birthday, I wished to protect Molly for a lifetime and make her happy. When I opened my eyes, I saw you crying. He pointed to his chest. Here, it aches, just like you. I looked deeply at him, seeing my 18-year-old self standing next to Joseph, laughing. At that time, I truly believed we would have a beautiful future together. We struggled to reach that future, but he didn't cherish it. I just got a lot of fragmented memories. Joseph's gaze met mine. It seemed hard for him to accept the truth as he said, "He's not good." See, Joseph, even your 18-year-old self can't understand who you've become now. A shadow fell over us as Joseph reached out to wipe my tears. I could feel his hand trembling. I stared at his face, serious and solemn, his long eyelashes fluttering lightly as he cautiously glanced at me. He raised his eyes, as if finally having made a decision, his tone serious and firm. "Don't cry for him, he's not worth it. Molly, you're the best girl in the world, leave him." 18-year-old Joseph declared the end of my marriage with 30-year-old Joseph. I said, "Okay, I promise you." 6 years ago, when Joseph proposed, I said, "Sure, I promise you." Joseph isn't coming home tonight. I look at 18-year-old him. "It's late, do you want to take a shower and rest?" 18-year-old Joseph is not like he is now, he could easily navigate the social scenes. His feelings are so clear. I explained to him, he has a few new clothes he hasn't worn yet. He walked over and asked, "Did you buy them for him?" I didn't know if he was asking too seriously or if the division between himself and 30-year-old Joseph was too stark. They are clearly the same person, yet I felt a twinge of guilt towards 18-year-old Joseph. "Yeah." He didn't say anything else and took the clothes to shower. Before he left the room, he turned back as if he wanted to say something. I gestured for him to speak, but Joseph said nothing. "Molly, get some rest. Good night." I had planned to wait for him to come back, but after a day full of emotional ups and downs, I felt exhausted. Thinking of my past with Joseph, I fell into a gap between dreams and reality. I couldn't open my eyes, but I sensed Joseph returning from his shower, warmth radiating from him as he quietly sat beside me. He reached out to turn off the light and gazed at me in the darkness for a long time. Long enough that I was almost drifting into dreams, my thoughts becoming more and more hazy. Suddenly, I felt warmth on my face. In the dream, everything became bright, and my thoughts snapped back. I realized too late that it was Joseph's tears. People are really strange. You know this person will cheat and betray your feelings in the future, yet in moments like this, you still can't help but tremble. Joseph was clearly holding his breath, seemingly observing if I had woken up. I kept my eyes closed, pretending to sleep. He moved cautiously until I felt his hand press against the bed as he slid to the floor, the rustling sounds finally stopping. I heard him mumbling something, his voice choked with emotion. It fell into my ears, barely making sense. I reached for the bedside and turned on the light. Joseph stood frozen, his eyelashes still holding tears, eyes red. He hurriedly wiped his tears and stammered, "Why you woke up?" In my memory, Joseph has only cried twice. Once was when we were breaking up. I saw him sitting alone in his room, secretly wiping away tears as I gathered my things at home. The other time was during our wedding. Joseph had tears in his eyes, thanking me for giving him a chance, for choosing him, and for loving him. But none of these were the tears of his 18-year-old self. 18-year-old Joseph still had a youthful face. It was the first time I saw him cry, and I felt a pang of pain. But I simply tossed him a tissue from the bedside. I know it's hard to accept that your grown-up self is a jerk, playing such a disgusting game while pretending to be decent. Joseph looked very sad. I thought for a moment and changed my words, but from a certain perspective, you were still good to me. At least before receiving that email, I thought we had an ideal marriage. No matter how busy you were, you always cared about my feelings, remembered all my hobbies, and surprised me from time to time. You let me spend money freely, never imposed strict rules on me, always brought me gifts wherever you went, and would inform me in advance if anything was wrong. My mind buzzed, and I stopped there, unable to continue. I smiled bitterly. I can't say more. Reminiscing about your good qualities is overshadowing your bad ones by so much. There are still many things about 30-year-old Joseph that attract me, but cheating can negate all those qualities. 18-year-old Joseph took a deep breath, as if trying to calm down. Clearly, the one who started with me was you. Why should he be the one to spend the rest of his life with you? Why should he treat you like that? I wouldn't betray you. He clenched his fists, choking up again. Joseph. I sighed. Whether you want to admit it or not, that is 30-year-old you. You two are one. I won't, he quickly retorted, as if afraid that one more second would mean losing his innocence. I didn't say anything more. Perhaps 18-year-old him is innocent regarding the mistakes made by 30-year-old him. It's late, let's sleep. I patted the space beside me. He's not coming back tonight, come up and sleep. Don't sit on the floor, it's cold. Joseph's eyes were still red, he shook his head. That's not good. Joseph and I only started dating after the college entrance exams. In high school, I once had a heavy period, and blood got on the chair and my pants. His first reaction was to crouch down and help me clean the blood off the chair, then he asked a friend to buy me sanitary pads. I can't help you buy them, I don't want you to be teased. You're a girl, you'll face more gossip than I will. He always believed that the foundation of love is respect. I smiled, but we're already married. What you're facing is 30-year-old Molly. My tone dropped, a bit sad. I'm 30, Joseph. I still trust you like I did when I was a teenager, but you don't. To be honest, I'm feeling a bit dazed. Joseph cheated, and it feels unreal, like a bad dream. 18-year-old Joseph stood up from the floor and asked me, Molly, can I hug you again? He opened his arms, and I wrapped my arms around his waist while sitting on the bed. His intense body heat seeped through the thin summer clothes and warmed my skin. I pressed against his chest and heard the steady thump of his heart. This hug lasted about 2 minutes, with Joseph's chest rising and falling rapidly. I pulled away from his embrace. I cried again. His tears felt like boiling lava, making my head spin. I grabbed a tissue, tilted my head back, and wiped his tears away. Joseph bent down, allowing me to reach his face more comfortably. He looked at me. He said, I'm really sorry. Molly. When I woke up, 18-year-old Joseph had already made breakfast. Summer days are long, and by the time I woke up, it was bright outside. Joseph and I ate breakfast in silence. Will he still cook for you? Back in high school, I joked with my friends, saying, if you cook well, I'll marry you. She laughed and said, but my cooking is terrible, if you've never eaten something awful, I can make that. We laughed it off, but only Joseph casually asked, Molly, what dishes do you like? That's when he learned to cook. Years later, after college and starting our jobs, Joseph still loved cooking for me. I worried he was overworking himself and told him to stop. He never would, saying that he was happy when he felt needed by me. Nothing had really changed, why did he cheat? I replied, I will when I'm not busy. Joseph took a big bite of the omelet. After that, he didn't say anything, mechanically shoving food into his mouth, chewing and swallowing, lost in thought. After finishing, Joseph got up to wash the dishes. I stood at the kitchen door, watching him work. Once he cleaned everything up, Joseph turned to look at me. Molly, if I could spend my whole life like this with you, that would be great. I smiled slightly. Yeah, you've said that to me before. Many times. The smile vanished from Joseph's face. He clearly wanted to say more. Suddenly, I heard the sound of a door opening outside. Joseph and I exchanged a quick glance, urgency in our voices as we said, hide, quick. I didn't want to complicate things. Seeing him head towards the guest room, I hurriedly slipped into the master bedroom. I closed the door, pulled the covers over myself, and pretended to be asleep in one swift motion. The doorknob turned, followed by the sound of Joseph's footsteps. 30-year-old Joseph walked with a steadiness that was a far cry from his youthful self. He paused for a moment before turning and leaving. After a short while, I heard the sound of running water. The sound of water was so loud it was impossible to ignore, and I couldn't help but think about what he had done. I remembered the torn bow tie, the moment he paused to reply to my message, and those explicit conversations. Every time I recalled them, it felt like I was drowning in pain. Divorce isn't simple, the division of our assets would take a long time. As the one at fault, he should have been at a disadvantage. But the videos didn't capture our faces and could easily be dismissed. Plus, the recordings were blurry, more like hidden camera footage, so the evidence was practically useless. I should gather stronger evidence. I told myself this one by one, but I still couldn't accept him. Forget it, 18-year-old Joseph wouldn't want to see me tangled up with the person he had become. I sat there for a while, the sounds around me magnified infinitely. It felt like I could hear my heart racing. Then, 30-year-old Joseph walked in. As he closed the door, he asked casually, "Hey, babe, has anyone come by?" "Joseph, let's get a divorce." Our words almost landed at the same time. Joseph stared at me in disbelief, his voice dry. "Why?" His fingers clenched the fabric of his clothes, his jaw tense. His voice came out like it was squeezed through his teeth, as if he wanted to swallow me whole. "Because of the owner of this outfit? You're going to divorce me for him?" He strode toward me, his breath ragged. He stopped in front of me, his expression pained and conflicted. Joseph closed his eyes, his lips trembling. "Molly, you owe me an explanation." After we got married, he rarely called me Molly anymore. Instead, he used more affectionate terms, showing our legal recognition of each other. It's ironic how the law didn't restrain him. 18-year-old Joseph left 2 of his clothes in the bathroom. 30-year-old Joseph took those 2 clothes out. His fingers were white from gripping tightly, veins standing out on the back of his hands. "As long as you explain, I'll believe you." The corners of Joseph's eyes turned red, staring at me as if afraid to miss any of my expressions. I looked at him, my heart feeling like it was being ripped apart, a wave of agony washing over me. Then came the anger, ready to burst from my chest. "What's there to explain?" I slapped him hard. I put all my strength into it, and Joseph's head turned to the side from the force. "Joseph, get it straight, I haven't wronged you. I've always been loyal to you in both our relationship and marriage. I've done nothing wrong, you're the one who's betrayed me. You're an animal, don't think of me as something disgusting." Joseph's face turned pale, his breathing quickened, almost gasping for air. Suddenly, a bad feeling jolted through his mind. His blood seemed to freeze, making him feel cold from head to toe. He opened his mouth, but it felt like something was blocking him, and he couldn't speak. "Babe, Molly." 2 voices overlapped, but one sounded youthful. Joseph looked stunned, his body stiffening as he slowly turned to me, eyes wide in shock. He spoke slowly, each word heavy as if they could draw blood, filled with fury. "Is someone here?" Before I could respond, Joseph dashed toward the source of the voice. I watched him, his hands clenching and unclenching. This gesture showed he was seething with rage. I hurried after him. He kicked the guest room door open violently, the sound echoing loudly. The room was empty. Joseph searched every corner, like an enraged leopard hunting for prey, ready to strike. But there was nothing. Only the white t-shirt and black pants that didn't belong to him served as a constant reminder that someone had been here. The door camera hadn't captured anything. Holding the 2 pieces of clothing tightly, Joseph seemed to have an epiphany. He pointed to the few unworn clothes in the closet and asked, "You let him wear my clothes, didn't you?" "What if I did?" I was calmer than I expected. Joseph fidgeted with his fingers in frustration. "Babe, who is that person?" Seeing I didn't answer, he lowered his voice. "I really want to kill him. Make sure he hides, I can't let him be found." His eyes burned with jealousy, ready to turn someone to ashes. Joseph turned to make a call, ready to send someone to investigate. I stopped him. "Do whatever you want. But when are you going to talk to me about divorce?" Joseph stared at me, stunned. He still wanted to leave, his back carrying a sense of retreat. As he finally moved out of my reach, I grabbed his arm. "I want to show you something good." I tightened my grip, my nails digging into his flesh. Joseph didn't flinch. He turned to me, slowly bending down and hugging me. "Let's not get divorced, okay?" I pushed him away. "Is it fun to reply to me while lying in another woman's bed? How long has this been going on?" The video from IG was playing on my phone. Seeing what was on my screen, Joseph's expression darkened further. How long? I asked you how long. Joseph stood there silently. I was furious and slapped him hard. With a red, swollen face, Joseph remained quiet. Almost a year. I scoffed, staring at him and nodding. Joseph, you're really scum. You say you hate cheaters and fear marriage because of your parents' unhappy marriage, but look at you. You have the same filthy blood as your father. Don't you look down on cheaters? How can you be like this? Huh? Say something. He stayed silent, letting me unleash my fury. Does your hand hurt? He asked, reaching out to take mine. I stepped back, avoiding his hand. He paused for a moment, then smiled wryly, holding up the clothes in his hand. So, is this what you did to make me angry? Molly, you still love me, right? I can change. I will change. He looked like a desperate gambler, wild-eyed and all in. I'll give you all my assets. We can sign an agreement and get it notarized. If I mess up again, I'll leave with nothing. I asked, then why cheat? Did you think I wouldn't find out, or that I would tolerate it because I love you? I can't wait any longer. I want a divorce. I felt a bit reluctant, but I didn't want to torture myself. It's not my fault. Molly, it's not how you think. Joseph's eyes were filled with pain. He looked at me, tears streaming down his face. One tear dropped into the ocean, creating no ripple. I could see he regretted it. But I couldn't forgive him. No matter what, the fact is you cheated. The year-long deception is a fact, and your betrayal is a fact. Joseph, I don't have the patience to listen to a cheating husband's journey of self-reflection. I'll have someone come tomorrow to divide our assets, and once it's done, we'll divorce quickly. Joseph looked at me quietly, then said, I don't agree. You can't leave. I lost control. I slapped him multiple times, until my palm was red. I wanted to cry but couldn't, the lump in my throat suffocating me. Did you not think about today when you were cheating? What are you pretending for? Isn't it disgusting? Joseph let me hit and yell at him, his clothes in disarray, face red and swollen, looking utterly pathetic. His voice trembled with tears as he begged me. Give me a chance to make it up to you, please? I'm begging you. Molly, I'm begging you. I shook my head and suddenly burst into tears. Joseph, you're really a scumbag. You're the one who did wrong. Why do you make me sad and suffer? If only I could detach myself when I say I don't love someone, but I can't. So I struggle, I agonize. Molly, I truly know I was wrong. After so many years together, can you give me one more chance? Joseph and I had known and loved each other for years, we understood each other well. He noticed my hesitation and reached out to embrace me. Before he could hold me, I grabbed a cup from the table and smashed it down. Both of us froze. He slowly looked up, his eyes filled with disbelief. I withdrew my hand, still stained with his blood. The glass had cut his face, and blood was dripping from his head. Joseph seemed to struggle to hold himself up, kneeling on one knee. He asked me with a bitter smile, Do you hate me that much? My heart wavered for a moment, and I pulled out my phone to call for an ambulance. Joseph added, Honey, you're done for. You can never leave me. If you divorce me, I'll sue you for intentional injury. I have a top-notch legal team. He covered the bleeding spot on his head, laughing as if he had a get-out-of-jail-free card. Blood flowed between his fingers, his face pale, but his eyes sparkled as he looked at me. He was still laughing. As the medical staff lifted Joseph onto the ambulance, he clutched my hand. The nurse said to me, Family should come along. Once on the ambulance, I used Joseph's phone to message his secretary to come quickly. Joseph was taken to stop the bleeding and treat his wounds. I stood in the bustling hospital lobby, feeling lost. Two people who once loved each other sincerely couldn't even part amicably after tearing each other apart. I saw Joseph's secretary rushing over in a burgundy spaghetti strap dress. Young and beautiful, with a great figure. She must be competent to be Joseph's secretary, but unfortunately, she took the wrong path. He's in there, I pointed in the direction. Her round eyes smiled as she said, "Are you just handing me the opportunity?" I don't think of men as opportunities, especially not a cheating one. Giving a toy you're tired of to someone pitiful is a virtue, so here you go. Her disdainful look seemed to anger her, and she retorted. Do you know what he's like in bed with me? He says I'm not as good as you, yet he sleeps with me again and again. I'm younger and prettier than you, and I'm more understanding. You pretend to be generous, but you must be furious inside. I grabbed her hair, pulling her face close, and slapped her hard. I didn't want to hit you, but with you acting like this, I feel I owe it to myself. If Joseph had been resolute, she wouldn't have taken off his pants. But I couldn't stand her arrogance. Speak louder, let everyone know you're so brazen about ruining someone else's marriage. Take a good look at Joseph, that's what I hit. I pushed her away and turned to leave. Cheating is scandalous, but for men like Joseph, who are considered successful in a worldly sense, it's hardly a big deal. If he clings to it, this divorce will be tough. Moreover, I did hit him. I need to think of another way. For several days, Joseph didn't come home. He sent many gifts through others, which I threw away, and he would have someone else send more. He sent a bunch of messages. I set my phone to do not disturb and only asked him when I felt frustrated, "When are we getting divorced?" He refused to agree. As for his secretary, it said that after Joseph saw her in the hospital, he went a bit crazy. He cleared his IG account, posted his real photo, and pinned an apology. The comments were chaotic. Originally, this incident wouldn't have stirred much, but Joseph put her in the spotlight. Her normal life was severely disrupted, and Joseph even sued her for infringing on trade secrets, facing huge compensation. Joseph told me she did this on purpose, taking photos and videos while I was drunk. She used that to extort money from my dad. He didn't know, so he gave her a sum. Later, she got bolder, even telling my dad she was pregnant. My dad agreed to let her stay, and that night, she drugged me and wore your clothes. I thought it was you. And then? You kept this from me and got addicted to sleeping with her? Why didn't you report her and have her arrested? Why didn't you tell me right away? Seeing that I was willing to listen, Joseph quickly explained. No, I was afraid you'd be angry. She kept pestering me with this, and that night I lost a big client. Distracted, I had a bit of alcohol and couldn't help myself. Molly, I was just looking for a thrill, a bit of excitement. I know I was wrong, really. She won't have a good life after this, you can punish me however you want. Molly, can we not get divorced? I really need you. I replied, when I'm feeling confused, I don't go out and mess around with someone. Joseph, when are we getting divorced? Joseph fell silent, dodging my question. That night, I saw 18-year-old Joseph again. He explained to me, I can't let anyone else see me, or I won't be able to come back. My eyes lit up. You mean you can still come? Joseph nodded, contemplating, I don't know where I heard it, but it feels like it's stuck in my head. I have a feeling I can come back. Last time, I could only stay for 18 hours. This time, I can stay for another hour. Did he agree to the divorce? I didn't hide anything, sighed, and told him the truth. You've really become annoying since you grew up. Joseph ran his fingers through his hair, his tone suddenly fierce. This idiot. I want to kill him. He said it so seriously that I couldn't help but laugh. Why do you both want to kill each other? Joseph, I dislike the future version of you. I want to divorce him, not to make him die. There's no need to ruin my life over a cheating man. There will be a way. I just need to think. Want to see 30-year-old Molly's life? Joseph's eyes sparkled with anticipation as he nodded emphatically, yes. Since he couldn't be seen, I couldn't take him out, but I took lots of photos and videos. I showed him my work, the places I liked to visit, the street I walked the most. And in all of them, there were many glimpses of his future self. 18-year-old him listened intently, asking me questions occasionally, his face full of satisfaction. By the way. Before he could finish, he disappeared. 19 hours were up. I felt a bit lost and suddenly wanted to learn to cook. What if 18-year-old Joseph came back again? I marinated the meat ahead of time before cooking it. When it was done, it was super salty. This is real poison. I held the plate when I suddenly heard a youthful voice. Did you make this for me? Oh, and last time I wanted to ask, did you go eat at that restaurant near our school after? I put down the food, smiled, and hugged him. I told him loudly, yes. We went many times afterward. The owner still remembers us. Joseph naturally embraced me. I stepped back from his arms and smiled. You're so natural, you must have hugged 18-year-old me a lot. Joseph bent down, his eyelashes fluttering. My lips were unexpectedly touched by him, a quick peck. Not just that, I also kissed you. But I don't have those memories when I go back. He seemed to be studying my expression. I didn't mind and offered him a piece of food. Try it. After eating, Joseph gave me a thumbs up. Gifted. I was puzzled as he mysteriously shoved a piece into my mouth. I chewed, frowned, and spat it out. Joseph laughed heartily, it's so awful. 18-year-old Joseph was still such a child. We watched a movie that hadn't been released yet, and Joseph was thrilled because he skipped the long wait. He counted on his fingers. There are 9 more movies, I need to finish them quickly. He added, with you. Of course, I wouldn't refuse him. I said, sure. This time, Joseph didn't insist on sleeping elsewhere, he lay down beside me properly. We chatted casually. When I opened my eyes again, Joseph was gone. He stayed longer each time, 20 hours, 21 hours, 22 hours. Each time, he stayed an hour longer than before. I worried a bit, you won't be forced to stay here later, will you? Joseph was nonchalant. That would be good. I forgot to tell you, when I go back, time doesn't change. I can be with both 18 and 30-year-old you, that's perfect. Hearing him say that, I felt relieved. Since we couldn't go out, our activities were limited. I played games with him, watched movies he wanted to see, he cooked for me, and accompanied me for online work. Life was calm and happy. If 30-year-old Joseph would just agree to the divorce, that would be better. I deleted all his fingerprints. To avoid raising his suspicions, I occasionally pushed him to agree to the divorce. Naturally, 30-year-old Joseph refused, afraid I'd bring up the past, and he avoided going home. 18-year-old Joseph was safe. After we finished watching the remaining 9 movies, he covered his face and sighed, so happy. He turned to me, Molly, if you could choose again, would you still want to be friends or lovers with me? I thought for a moment and told him, strangers. Joseph's smile froze. Maybe you'll meet someone more suitable, and I won't suffer because of 30-year-old you. But that's not your concern. I'm really thankful you liked me, it was beautiful and happy for 18-year-old me. And for me now, too. But weighing the pros and cons, being strangers suited us better. I didn't say that last sentence. Joseph's expression softened a bit. Yes, you're so good, anyone who's with you will be happy. It's that scumbag 30-year-old me who's the problem. Every time I heard him criticize himself with disgust, I wanted to laugh, nodding along. This time he stayed for 25 hours. A day and a night, plus another hour. We were playing games when he disappeared. I looked at the empty space beside me, feeling a bit unhappy. Next time, I won't play games right before he leaves. But 18-year-old him never showed up again. Those days felt like a beautiful dream in midsummer, suddenly waking up. At first, I thought I'd have to wait a couple more days. But 2 days, 3 days, an entire week passed. 18-year-old Joseph never came back. The unease in my heart grew heavier. One night, I suddenly thought of something and called 30-year-old Joseph. I asked him what birthday wish he made when he turned 26. Joseph, surprised and delighted, answered, "The company grew, and I could impress my family." I asked again, "What about 27? My grandma's health, for her to recover soon. And 28? Without exception, in the later birthday wishes, there was no mention of me. "So, did your birthday wishes from 18 to 25 all include me?" There was silence on the other end, and Joseph's tone became a bit flustered. "Yes. But I loved you those following years too, it's just." He was still explaining, but I couldn't absorb a word. So it turned out, from that early on, 18-year-old Joseph made a wish to protect me for a lifetime, to see me happy. That's why he came to this world. He stayed here for 18 hours. In the following years, he kept me in mind. The time he could stay was equal to his age that year. Starting from 26, after we had been married for 2 years and our relationship was stable. Maybe he felt it was ordinary, or for reasons I couldn't grasp, he no longer included me in his birthday wishes. So, 18-year-old him would never appear again. I leaned against the bed, a sense of exhaustion washed over me like never before. "Joseph, why don't you sue me?" There was silence on the other end. "I'm going to file for divorce." After a long pause, Joseph asked, "Molly, do you really hate me that much? Really, can't we go back?" His tone was filled with fatigue. I lost my patience, my tone dissatisfied. "Joseph." My mind went blank, and my words were cut off. When I came to my senses, the lights in the room were still on. There were no new records on my phone call log, which puzzled me. I felt like I had just been on a call. Why was there no record? Who was I calling? I rubbed my head, unable to remember anything. On my 31st birthday, I had dinner with friends at a restaurant. Not being married has its advantages. I've always felt free and light. I arrived early and ordered food. After everything was set, I caught a glimpse out of the corner of my eye and stopped. A card had been tied to the roses that were originally just for decoration, and I didn't notice when it had been added. It wasn't there the last time I came. I looked around, indeed, only I had this. Curious, I took it off and opened it. The writing was done in black ink, elegantly flowing. "Let's not be here, escape back to 18, hiding beneath the azalea bushes in school, so fate won't find us." I felt oddly touched. Just as I was about to take out my phone to capture the moment, my friend rushed over and asked, "What's this?" I replied, "It's a card tied to a rose." "That's interesting. Look." I handed it to her, but the server bringing our food accidentally bumped into something and spilled hot soup all over us. My friend instinctively ducked, and the card fell to the ground, its writing smudged and dirty. "I'm so sorry, ladies," the server apologized, while my friend looked at me with an apologetic expression. "I'm really sorry. I didn't catch it." I shifted my gaze away from the card, pushing down the discomfort I felt inside. Looking up, I reassured her, "It's okay, it's just a card." I didn't know why, but I felt a heaviness in my heart. Joseph's 18-year-old side story. On his 18th birthday, Joseph made a wish to protect Molly for life and to ensure her happiness. At that time, he never imagined that Molly's misfortunes were caused by him at 30. After Joseph time traveled, he retained only fragmented memories of his 30-year-old self. He couldn't understand why he had cheated, why he had made her sad. He clearly loved her, didn't he? Seeing Molly cry made Joseph feel awful. "Molly, you're the best girl in the world. Leave him. Leave the man he had become, who was unrecognizable." That's what he thought and what he said. Molly agreed. This was good, he thought, loving her without losing her true self. Their first meeting at 30 ended abruptly. Before leaving, Joseph felt a strong premonition. He shouted, "Molly." He wanted to tell her to never forgive the 30-year-old Joseph. But he couldn't say it out loud. When he returned to his own world, all memories of that place vanished. Until he time traveled to the future again. This time, he received many pieces of information he hadn't had before. The reason he came was because of his wish. The duration of his stay matched his age that year. He still had 7 chances to see Molly. Starting at 26, Molly's place in his wish was gone. He didn't tell Molly. The 30-year-old version of him was already a source of distress for her, so maybe the 18-year-old version loved her just a bit more. In this world, the 30-year-old Joseph refused to divorce, while the 18-year-old could do nothing but watch Molly furrow her brows. Just as he didn't want Molly to suffer, she didn't want him to be troubled either. Molly smiled at him. There will be a way. I just need to think more about it. Do you want to see what 30-year-old Molly's life is like? So, the 18-year-old Joseph pretended not to notice Molly occasionally staring at her phone, frantically searching for grounds for divorce and sentencing for intentional harm at certain times. The 30-year-old Joseph was a madman, and so was the 18-year-old Joseph. In the future world, he couldn't take action, but the other version of him could. If his life stopped at 18, the 30-year-old Joseph would naturally disappear. He began to cherish the remaining days, rushing to finish watching his favorite movie series before using up all 7 chances. On the last occasion, he asked Molly, "Molly, if you could choose again, would you still want to be my friend or my girlfriend?" Molly replied, "A stranger, I guess." Joseph's heart sank. Then he thought, well, that's fine, if she didn't remember him, she wouldn't be troubled. Joseph's family relationships were chaotic. Both his parents had affairs, but were bound together by their interests. From his earliest memories, he hated his family. His parents each had their own children, and he was the one who felt unloved. Fortunately, his grandmother loved him, and as he grew up, he had Molly. He chose an orphanage, which later made headlines for forcing children into prostitution. This was something 30-year-old Molly casually mentioned during their conversation. 18-year-old Joseph thought that if he chose there to say goodbye to the world, his family would surely send someone to investigate. Even if they didn't love him, they had to keep up appearances. Even if it came down to it, his grandmother would make the decisions for him. Those kids could be saved. But he felt sorry for his grandmother. After using up the chance to meet 30-year-old Molly, he went to see 18-year-old Molly. 18-year-old Molly had bright, clear eyes, and when she smiled, it was sweet. "What are you doing here?" Joseph told her, "I wanted to see you. Can I hug you?" Her own boyfriend, Molly opened her arms generously. "Hug." Joseph adjusted her arms. "In public, it's not good for you." Molly laughed, "What's wrong?" "We're dating." The words were familiar. 30-year-old Molly had said something similar. "But we're already married." They had already loved each other and reached the altar of marriage. It shouldn't be considered regretful. Molly followed him until they reached a secluded spot, where Joseph pulled her into his embrace. Molly only felt how tight and warm he held her. She didn't know this was their final farewell. Joseph chose a sunny day to leap from the orphanage. In a daze, a voice told him he had done great deeds and asked him what his wish was. "I wish for my grandmother to be healthy and safe." "Molly, don't remember me." The blooming roses turned into buds, and butterflies transformed into caterpillars, retracting the words spoken back to his lips. Everything returned to where it started. The world's consciousness took matters into its own hands and gave a card to 31-year-old Molly in Joseph's name. But Joseph didn't want Molly to remember, didn't want her love. He was afraid she would recall, afraid of the pain she would endure for the rest of her life. His will was too strong. A passing server knocked over the hot soup. The card fell to the ground, filthy and unrecognizable. August's summer was as intense as ever, just like the burning hearts of youth. "I love you, but you don't need to remember me." End.